Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Morning, George. Morning, Craig. Morning, Ben. Oh, that's a name I haven't seen before. Morning. If you're new here, let me know. Valerie, morning. Jason, John, Sledge, Kevin, Philip, morning, everybody. Man, Sledge, you are on the flights lately. Like every day you're tuning in from the air. Yeah, where's Digger? I don't know. Digger, if you're watching, let us know. Anyway, uh, crazy stuff. The Biden cronies, the minions of the White House, trying to advance a ban on AI chips. The news says that's why Nvidia's pulling back. Anybody know what I've been saying about Nvidia for weeks? I mean, when you're at a 37, 38, 39 times price to sales, when your price is 39 times your sales, that's a little ridiculous. We needed a pullback. This is not even much of a pullback. We're like down 14 points from the close yesterday. I mean, think about it. Back in August, a year ago, just a year ago, they were talking about this ban, and they put a ban on the A100 chips. That's the flagship chip. Now they got the H100, but the A100 was the flagship chip last August for all the GPUs and all the AI processing. The administration put out a ban banning the export of those chips to China. Okay, cool, right? You know where Nvidia's price was back then? Down at like 150, like in that $150 range, and we dropped down, and we kind of bottomed out near 100. It was like 108. All right, so what does Nvidia do? They do the power play move. They came up with the A800 chip that they could export to China. All right, so that new chip had lower performance standards that met the Department of Commerce's, came in underneath the performance standards. So what happens next? The announcement yesterday, we're going to ban the A800s from being exported except to those people who have a license. I don't know about you. I've been trading a while, and it doesn't seem to matter what kind of restrictions you put on anything that goes to China. As soon as it gets there, it's China rules. It's not, if we license it to somebody with a license is going to buy them and then sell them to whoever they want to out there in China. And we aren't going to say squat about it. So I guarantee you, if the Chinese, if there's people in China that want the A100s, they're going to get access to the A100s. If they want the A800s, they're going to have the A800s. It's, that's just kind of the way it works. And this image right behind me was generated by AI and actually ran on the Google Tensor chips. That's by Midjourney. That was the thumbnail too, so kind of cool. Anyway, pop it over, look at the normal view. Yeah. So let's go ahead and kick it off. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation here intended to be informational, educational, and fun only. Not trying to give you advice or trying to tell you what to do, because it's not a recommendation to buy or sell any financial instrument or anything else. So if you desire personal financial advice, you need to hire and consult a financial advisor with a fiduciary duty to take care of you based on your financial situation. Still amazes me that wasn't even a requirement before just recently. So, the comment, here we go. There's, this was in the Wall Street Journal, and this is just a summary of it. So the Commerce Department could move as soon as, this hasn't even happened. Like, they didn't institute a ban. This is just the Commerce Department could move as soon as early next month to ban these A800 chips that they made for the Chinese market. So that new restrictions being contemplated by the Commerce Department would ban the sale. They're just contemplating it. Now, I don't know about you, but there's a lot of crap that happens in between contemplating it and happening. So, um, you know, NVIDIA led declines in shares of chip makers after hours. Rival AMD also fell about 3%, which is kind of ridiculous when this is just targeting A800 chips from NVIDIA with a license. So, you tell me, was the reaction warranted, or is it just one of those things that the news just happened to be while all these things are overcooked and we're getting a pullback? So, like I said, NVIDIA now has these H100s, which are way faster, way bigger, get a 10 GPU thing from Supermicro, and you can spend, north of $150,000 on that sucker. So Supermicro also getting the pullback this morning. Now, looking at ES, it looks like we have the potential to go up again. Looks like we need to find support around this $4,404 area. Could go a little deeper. The one is all the way down here, so this pattern is still valid all the way down here, even though that doesn't look super awesome if we go that deep. So we may come down and touch the roadmap line, which is hanging out at 4,400 right there, 4,400. It gives us a kind of a 5-point slush range there. And the upside target, 44.22, which is lower than the high we made yesterday, but we could see 44.28, possibly even 44.34 on the upside. So those are kind of how we're going. Yeah. I like the no segue into just talking about the ES and where we are. So, morning, Maurizio, Philip, Jason, Dan, Michael, and Deb. Michael, it's funny how you guys always say good morning almost right together. It's hilarious. In the back of my mind, it's hilarious. Hilarious to me. Anyway, it's like Michael. It reminds me of Blades of Glory. Chaz Michaels. Anyway, that's just one guy. So that's the ES in a nutshell. That's a 30-minute chart right there. And so we'll talk about that more on my bias for the day. Popping over, looking at the calendar, there is not much happening here. We've got crude oil inventories and bank stress test results, but not much else happening today. Tomorrow, we got Powell speaking early in the morning. He must be somewhere else in the world. And then final GDP numbers for, it's probably Q1, unemployment claims. And we'll see what that does. And pending home sales. So that all coming out tomorrow. And then, reminder, we have a holiday week next week. And Friday, we're getting PCE. That's Powell's favorite number right there. That could maybe be a market mover on Friday. So keep that one in mind. We may see some volatility at some point. We're getting way overcooked. I talked about it last night during 30 Minutes of Awesome. If you missed that presentation after we're done on this one, you should maybe go check that one out. So, if you want to chat with me while we're live, make sure you're subscribed. That's the only requirement. There's a chat. Depends on if you're on a web browser. It's kind of over to the right side, whichever side that is. I think it's that side. If you're on mobile, you may have to turn your screen to get it to pop or whatever. Sometimes it's below, sometimes it's beside when you're on the mobile app or the tablet. So if you're having trouble finding the live chat, Google it, man, or lady. It's just one of those things that pops up. It's controlled by Google. It's not controlled by me. Although you do have to be a subscriber to chat in there, because I had some bots come on and share some lovely links to stuff. So, kicking it off, talking about NVIDIA. Let's look at a cleaner chart here. Back when they instituted that ban here in August, they banned export of the A100s. We did that. How big was that pullback? About like that. So if we did that now, we would come back to about 350. I think we might need to go even deeper, but that's just me. Good morning, Andreas. Good morning, Angie. Good morning, everybody. Hump day, yeah. Mike. Hump day. So, NVIDIA getting a pullback, and maybe it goes deeper, maybe it just hangs, and we could easily see it, drop back down to the roadmap line, potentially seeing upwards of a 33% pullback. Is the news that makes the chart, or is the chart that makes the reaction to the news? I kind of lean toward the chart making the reaction to the news, because how many times have you seen a news story with the same, virtually the same headline and two different reactions in the mainstream media? Says that's the reason. And it's like, wait a minute. Whoa. How can it be positive one day and negative the next? It's like, oh, Amazon missed earnings and they rally. Amazon missed earnings and they drop out the bed. I mean, it's don't put we as humans love to put reasons to stuff, but remember, the number one most detrimental thing that you can do, the number one most detrimental thing that you can do is to listen to news, watch news, believe in the news, and react to the news with your trading. That's the number one most detrimental thing you can do to your account as a trader. All right, I zoomed myself up because that is important. Going back, let's look at what's actually moving here and kind of hit the highlights here. S&P 500, just kind of churning around. Just kind of churning. Came back up into the resistance. It was support zone. Now it's resistance. When we look at it on the smaller time frames here, let's pop down. See what we did. Came right back up to the top of that box. This was a resistance zone on the way up. Popped above, bounced off, kind of came back to the bottom, tried to poke out the bottom, came back to the top, fell out the bottom, came back up in, retested. If we hold that, that's positive, and we'll probably go up here. If we don't hold it, and we may stop there and go on down. So be careful. There's the next resistance right up there, and the support below the lows from Monday down here around 4,300. If we got below that, we could go on down to the daily roadmap line, somewhere down around 4,150. So we got lots of layers of support below us, a few layers of resistance above us, and that's kind of the thing to keep an eye on there. So NQ on a little bit different path, kind of breaking above, back testing the roadmap line, and can pop again. Even with NVIDIA news being horrible, that they may, at some point in the future, ban the new A800 chips that NVIDIA was selling to China, or at least ban them unless you have a license. I don't know. Just sounds like ridiculous crap to me. Russell, let's flip back up to the daily and scale it back to something that makes sense. So we bounced off the roadmap line. If we break out above this stuff right here, that is bullish. We could pop up here to 1800 and roll down one more time, retesting this zone. That would be classic. That's a three-wave move. So far, we just have one big wave down to the roadmap line. Potential bounce. May find resistance at this 1890 area on Russell and roll on over. And you're like, JT, I don't know what ES is. I don't know what NQ is. And I certainly don't know what RTY is. Easy here. Take a chill a second. We're talking about the S&P 500. That's like SPX, SPY, all the ETFs that are the S&P 500. Why am I looking at ES instead of one of those? Well, SPX, when we look at the overnight action, there is no overnight action. It stopped at 1600, 4 o'clock p.m. Whereas the futures, they kept rolling. Well, we've got all data all night. So that's why I look at the futures, because they trade all night. And they give me a little bit of direction here. Same with NQ. That's QQQ. All your QQQ stuff. TQQQ, SQQQ, all the QQQs, all the NASDAQ related ETFs right there. So just kind of consolidating. Looks like it wants to go up one more time for a higher high, and then we may get a bigger, deeper pullback, which could go lower than the low we saw on Monday. And then there's Russell. That's IWM, your small cap stuff. There's all sorts of small cap ETFs out there. So oil, we usually take a brief look at and pop back up to the daily, and got to fix it again. Looks like that wants to reach for a lower low. As discussed last night during the 30 minutes of awesome, probably going to go down here. Somewhere lower than 63.65. Gold, back into the roadmap line. I don't know. Let's run a quick fib off of this swing. We're kind of hanging at the 1272, kind of bounced up and back. It may be on a path to get down to this 1896 area. I'm just not sure gold has finished its corrective type move yet. The lower it pushes here, the lower it kind of pulls this ultimate target, but still touching the target zone here. So we may come on down though. We may get to that target down here and pull that target down just a little bit more. Just keep it in mind. I'm not buying gold yet until this starts turning up. All right. Silver is a different path though. Bitcoin just keeps consolidating. Made a massive move up and just kind of consolidating there. It decided not to do the fast path, so we take that one off. But the slower path, still possible, potential to get up there by late July. You might be like, JT, that looks crazy. Where did you come up with those numbers there? Like, how do you have that move? Well, check it out. This is the same move it did right back here off of these lows. Right there. From that low in March up to that high right there in April. Project that right off of here. Puts it right up here around 39. And that just happens to be where I drew the big target back here all the way back in March or April, or maybe it's February. So we may see that rally right up in that zone. All right. Now this is like my gold chart that I had up 2 seconds ago, 10 seconds ago, 20 seconds ago. Talking about the roadmap line. This is the power. Like if we bounce off of that roadmap line, we could see that kind of power move in gold. Maybe not that excited because Bitcoin tends to be a little overexcited compared to most other assets. But we can see a power move up on gold, and that's why that big up is sitting out there like that. Ethereum doing something different, consolidating right in this zone and may go down further. Kind of expecting it to retrace down to this area. I drew an arrow all the way back in like March or April that we may see that retrace down to this zone. Drew it again back here in June, but we may see that. So if you're long Ethereum, looking for it to go higher, I'm not certain because we're not breaking out. We're consolidating right in the resistance under the 618. That can lead to a lower low than we've seen since this high back here in April. Dollar, just kind of churning, not going anywhere. Kind of, I give bias to it going down, but it may pop up and hit the roadmap line before it does that. So not so sure which path we're on immediately. Market just opened 3 minutes ago. Nvidia kind of recovering some. I mean, yeah, it can fill that gap right back up. I mean, this thing is the most hyped thing. That's by the BTFD, by the freaking dip, and can rally right back up to that 49.20, easy. Could hold the roadmap line and drop out though. This is dangerous. I keep beating the drum that Nvidia is a dangerous investment, even though there's so many people that say, dump it all in Nvidia, let's go. I mean, you have NVDS for the short, NVDL for the long. Be careful. The account you save may be your own. These are both leveraged instruments. NVDS, NVDL. This hadn't even been around long, so NVDL, and NVDS. That one's a little less leveraged. So there you go. Joby. Nice little pop. Joby Aviation. Joby. However you say it. Joby. That's extended. And run it one more way. Yeah. That move's played out. Probably coming back to the roadmap line would be my primary expectation. Somewhere back over here. That would be what I expect. AMD, sympathy move, but I've been calling for it to come back to the roadmap line for a while. It's pretty much already doing it. And we may see more of that. We're back to retesting these the breakout level. It may find support at the breakout level and go higher. Doesn't have to come all the way back to the roadmap line, but the roadmap line is kind of like where it goes. I drew this all the way back here, and we haven't been there since May. Although when we got there in May, it took off like a rocket. So AREB, American Rebel Holdings, apparel and footwear. No idea. I'm guessing some kind of reverse split. Reverse splits are seldom, if ever, bullish events. Usually that's a sign of a company struggling to stay listed, and even doing a 25 for 1 and still sitting at 369, that's probably going on down. NERV, that's a pharmaceutical biotech. Remember, be careful. These things don't follow my patterns necessarily. But, kind of hitting super extensions there. Probably just going to fill that gap maybe. And I don't know. They can just announce a drug and go to the moon. That's kind of the way, to me, biotechs and pharmaceutical kind of like gambling. You gamble on drugs getting approved or disapproved. It's like Pfizer, I think it was. Their competition to Ozempic and Moderna or whatever got deemed to be like kill people instead of lose their weight. So that can drop on out. I don't know, man. This is a calendar by Forex Factory, so this is done by other people and refreshed. I don't see Powell speaking. Oh, there he is right there. Powell speaking right there today. I don't think anything he says matters much, honestly, in the big picture. The bots love him, but I don't think anything he says really matters. All right. GIS, ouch. Right down to the support line. We break below that, it's probably coming on down. I don't have fib levels because this is just support and resistance levels. And we do have the lows there, but if we break below this, it's probably coming on down. MSTR was getting a little retrace pre-market because Bitcoin was pulling back, and I think it's just consolidating before the next leg. So Bitcoin made a monster move, and MicroStrategy made a monster move, hit resistance, consolidate before the next pop. The levels, as the levels have been for days and days, 366, 394. ASTS, ouch. Right off of resistance and down. That's not bullish. That's not bullish. $268 would be the downside. Could hold in here, but that's not bullish to do that. BDTX, another pharmaceutical, dangerous biotech thing. Be careful on these. Like, I don't know how many times I have to say it. Biotechs are dangerous. They're like gambling. They make the list a lot for the morning movers because I pull them off of stuff like this. Market Chameleon. What are the most active gainers and decliners before the pre-market, in the pre-market opening, pre-market trading. This is where I get the lists, pull this stuff up, because it's kind of fun to talk about stuff that's actually moving. So there's Netflix and grinding up. Just little pullbacks and stuff on the grind higher. May do that final pop at earnings, or it may get a pullback, and then we carry that out to the fourth quarter before we get up there. So it's just on a path, grinding up there. Probably going to grind right up and fill that gap at 500. That gap came from right back here where we gapped down in February, February, back in 2022. So over a year ago, year and a half ago. RETA, another pharmaceutical dangerous thing. They move. But you got to be careful. So AV, Aereo Environment. What a name. That's like a sideways garbage chart. Lilly just keeps rocketing on their weight loss drug. Gonna save the world from obesity. So be careful. GIS earnings effect. Had great beat on top, didn't beat on the bottom, and dropped. You could say it's because of earnings. They beat on the top. Why didn't they pop? So I think it just filled the gap back from this gap up back here. Hold support here and potentially go, but we need it back above the roadmap line at 82 to get any kind of upside action going. So, and CIR, Circor, wow, that just looks ridiculous. Yeah, KKR, buying it out, so nothing there. That's just KKR buying that one, and their stock's not moving. So BA getting a little bit of pullback this morning. It was popping, now dropping to fill the pop. 225 was the upside, 234, but it can come back to the roadmap line down here at 200. OSTK, that's probably going to come up here at about 27. Maybe not today, maybe take a couple days, but probably going to go to test the top of that range. Look, it was the highs for quite a while. AVGO, yeah, let's see, let's clear some drawings and draw something. Off the high to the low. 954, possibly 1,000 on the upside. LRCX, that one has the head and shoulders that could play out. Puts it way up there, around 957. That's why that arrow's sitting there. May come back and retest the breakout, but it may just work its way up there. It could take the rest of the year. And VEEV saw a little drop, but probably going to pop. It's not an overly bullish pattern so far, but a breakout can clean that up. And that looks kind of sideways consolidationary for the last year. Year plus. Double bottom, but it hasn't got out of here at all. They keep having pretty good earnings, making some money, but just not going anywhere. I don't know. It just doesn't look overly awesome. So, circling back to the bias for the day, and then we can go get started actually trying to find some money in the markets. Looks like we're getting that little bit of retrace. So it's kind of the story of two different paths here. I kicked it off with the low time frame, 30-minute chart in the at the beginning there, gave you some levels that can we're basically at those levels now. We hold in this zone and pop. That's a 5-wave up, and we can expect a 618 retrace off of that. I don't exactly know where the top is going to be. Probably somewhere up here, maybe 43, 44.30, possibly as high as the 618 level up there of the whole drop, 44.47-ish. So if we see this breaking above here, these levels right here where we kind of line where we topped out right in there, we break above that, probably heading up here, maybe here, maybe here. And then we'll probably do this at least. And if we don't hold a 618 of that, move from the bottom up to that high, wherever it is, if we don't hold in this zone, we can go lower low. And that can extend all the way down to the box, 1618. So if we do hold a 618 retrace in this zone right in here, then the potential is to go higher again. All right. It's kind of the bias for the day. Got to know your levels and watch out. We start breaking back below this stuff right here. Watch out below. It can just go down. Like this can be a big 3-wave up, and we just continue on down. So that move like this, that 43.53 and 44.34, those can be levels on the downside. This just, that's the difference between topping up here and topping right here. If that was the top, watch it. We start breaking down below 43.95. It's looking like we may come on down deeper. And certainly the biggest red flag is breaking below that high right there. That's where I'm putting my alert. All right. Cost, what about cost? It's not moving, it's flat. Not moving at all. 0.15%. Uninteresting today. It kind of popped yesterday, but bigger picture, that's a nasty, gnarly chart that looks like she's going to go lower because she can't break and make higher highs. It's just stopped at a resistance from back here in February. If it can't break out, make a higher high than we've seen, we got lower high, lower high, and lower high. If we can't get above these highs right here, it's probably a fake out, bull trap, whatever you want to call it, and we may go all the way down to 350. It's been a big tightening wedge consolidation. The range of here to here is usually what we see when we break out of that wedge consolidation. And does it go up or does it go down? That's the big question right now. And it's showing a complete lack of trying to break out and go higher. It keeps trying, but it's showing a lack of it, so it may break down. Be careful if you're chasing cost. That is a gnarly chart, and I am not even going to try to trade it until some clarity comes out of cost. So, what about Mara? Mara is not really moving either. Down, just retracing. I mean, it's stuck inside day. Inside the range yesterday. What I expect? Keep chugging on the target. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's a chugger. It kind of gets lots of inside days, then it moves. Lots of inside days, and it moves. Lots of consolidation, then it moves. So that's what I expect. Consolidation, then it moves. All right. Have a good day, everybody. We'll continue the conversation to Discord. You don't know how to get there, you got to be a customer. And it's not a recommendation to buy or sell anything, but if you want to keep talking to me, it costs you $5. Links in the description. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow morning. We'll talk about what's moving again tomorrow. Bye for now. Thanks for coming.